Because even in the most uncertain days, there's always been one constant. We tune in. Ireland's listening. Trust Radio. Choose radio.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. We love the beautiful game more than Olivier Giroud loves the near post. Gamble responsibly. CWE.net.
All right, welcome back. It is 7:30 on a Thursday. John Giles is on the line. Evening, John.
Evening, Nathan.
So the season is finally done and dusted, and we know the top four. Manchester United made it in alongside Chelsea. United with that victory against Leicester at the weekend. Leicester have obviously been in the top four all season until the final week and faded quite dramatically since the restart. And I gotta say, I was very disappointed with them on Sunday against Manchester United. It felt United were a bit fatigued, that maybe they were there for the taking, and Leicester just seemed to lack a little bit of ambition. What was your take on it?
Well, it wasn't a good performance anyway, that's for sure. Because going back a while, they were really, really in good form. Brendan Rodgers was doing a great job. But it happens, Nathan, sometimes when you're not really there, but you're going for it, the team plays in a certain way, then you get there and a bit of pressure comes on, in my opinion. I think that's what happened at Leicester. I think Brendan gave a bit away when he said before the match, you know, whether we win this match or not, we've had a great season. I don't like to hear that. You have a great season when you've won as many matches as you possibly can, and this was a big match. They were going into a very, very big match. And I think it's a bit negative for a manager to say that.
He's given his players an out before the game has even started.
Yeah, but he's given himself an out. And right. I like Brendan. I think he's a good lad. I think he's done good jobs at Liverpool and that. But I was disappointed when I heard him saying that, because it was set up for a loss. And the manager is the man that drives things, and he's the man that creates the goal in the club or whatever. He's just responsible for whatever happens. Nathan, you know, over 38 matches now, a team is not lucky or unlucky over 38 matches, and the manager, like in Klopp's case, has done a terrific job with it. I think leading up when they start the season, I think he did a good job, really good job to get Leicester where they were. But ultimately, it was a disappointing finish.
Do you think those comments ahead of the game then had a big impact on the way they played, and talking as well about maybe getting to 75 minutes still right in the match and then properly pushing for a winner in the closing stages? Because it did seem that Leicester, who are such a brilliant counter-attacking side at times, that when Kasper Schmeichel would get the ball from a corner kick, instead of throwing it out quickly, he'd just try and slow it down in the first half. That almost the game plan was, even though United might have been there for the taking and taking the game on its merits at the time, they could have got at them in the first half, that they just left it too late. Yeah,
well, I don't think you can plan a match like that, to be quite honest.
Right.
You just can't do it, because if you say we'll do this for 70 minutes, or then you're just giving it to the opposition. You know, you're just giving it to them. They're not earning it, and then try to switch it on. I didn't hear that actually, that he tried to switch it on for the last 15 minutes. You want to be a genius to do that. And actually, a genius wouldn't be doing that. To be saying we go out and play and we take it on as merits. But the first 15 minutes, you know, what's wrong with scoring? If you're looking for scoring in the last 15 minutes, why wouldn't you not be scoring for the first 50 minutes? So you're giving the initiative, and you're telling your players, you know, expect them to be attacking us. It just doesn't make sense.
Did they play like a team feeling the pressure on Sunday?
Well, they just didn't. They didn't really play. You know, like I saw them playing early on the season, and when you're playing early on the season and you're in fourth place, the finishing line is a long way away. You know, so you go out and you can express yourself. But when the finishing line is in eyesight or near you, that's when it tells with the players, a lot of players, and that's when the manager has to do his job to insist on them. Wherever against Manchester United, what my opinion, what a manager should do. Look, we're going out there to play the game. We're going to have a go at them. This is what we're going to do. If we lose, it's my fault. So what managers, in my opinion, a big job a manager does is to free the players. In other words, come into the centre half, come into the game. Because I know from my own experience playing, like when I was manager at West Brom, we had a couple of centre very good players, but they were very reluctant to come into the game, into the play, you know. And I said, look, you come into the play, and in a few weeks they still weren't doing it. And then I tippled to it and I said, look, come into the play, because their attitude, if I give it away there, it's going to cost the goal, right? And my attitude is, you're not going to give it away. And then I realised, look, if you give it away, it's my fault. Yeah. It's not your fault. I'm telling you to do it. And if we lose a goal from it, And that was it. Do you know what I mean? In other words, the manager has to lead by saying, this is a very important match for us, but this is what we do, this is what I want you to do. I insist on you doing it. If it doesn't work, it's my fault. That's what managers are for, and that's what leaders are for. And the manager is the main leader. Okay, you have leaders on the pitch, but the manager is the man that creates the situation, whether it be tactics or anything else. And I didn't hear that last week from Brendan Rodgers, what you said, but I think his attitude was very, very defensive.
Right. From a Manchester United point of view, to finish inside the top four, considering where they were for long periods of the season, and we spoke a lot throughout the season about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's position and Mauricio Pochettino potentially waiting on the sidelines. Have you changed your opinion on Solskjaer and what he can do at Manchester United?
Well, I think he's done well. Of course, he's done well, Nathan. But you know, you have to go back just a couple of weeks, or the last match before that, where he was he played a weakened team in the semi-final of the Cup, for example, and then he drew with West Ham in the next match.
Yeah.
You know, well, in my opinion, that wasn't good management. You know, why not get into the final and beat West Ham? You know what I mean? Like, they've done well to get in eventually into fourth place, mainly because Leicester slipped. But why not? Why? I thought it was bad tactics or bad management. The team he picked in the semi-final against Chelsea, I thought was poor, because what he was trying to do was rest the players to get into a spot in Europe, as we know. But why not do both? So all's well that ends well. You know, it depends what way you look on the Solskjaer situation. Of course, he did well to get back up into fourth place. But at the end of the day, the last two matches, did he do well? I don't think so.
Right.
But I tell you what, they have brought in good young players. Now, whether he's responsible for that, I don't know. But whoever is responsible has done a really, really good job in that way. And he's done a good job, and he's brought some of the young players into the team. Well,
I guess that's where he deserves the credit then, is that he's actually gone and given them the chance.
I'll give him full credit, Nathan, for doing it. I mean, my take at the time when he was brought in, that they needed an Alex Ferguson or somebody of a stature to do the job, and he didn't do well. But he has picked up, and ultimately at the end, you'd have to say overall, since he's been there, he's done well. Yeah. He has done well.
In terms of what they do this summer then, and reinforcements and the areas that they really need to strengthen, on the presumption, say, that Paul Pogba stays at the club, is it a centre half? Like, is the centre half the next step, a player alongside Harry Maguire of real quality that brings them to another level, or do they need quite a bit?
I think they need a bit more up front. Martial did well, but I don't think you can depend on him. Rashford, the same. You know, they haven't got an established, they haven't got a Harry Kane. Well, there's not many Harry Kanes around, but that type of player that Spurs have. Aubameyang at Arsenal has done his stuff, goal scoring. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they've got anybody really like that.
Could Rashford be that player?
I don't know. I keep hearing him say he's better coming in from the left. I mean, the really top goal scorers that you see don't come in from the left, Nathan. You know, my opinion, they're up front. You know, if you look at Aguero and Harry Kane and these guys, they're not playing out wing or wide or anything. They're up front and they're goal scorers from that particular position.
What about, could he have a sort of impact that Salah has at Liverpool, Salah and Mane?
Who, Rashford?
Rashford. I know he's a different type of player.
Well, he's a young fella. I don't see him being anywhere near as good as Mane or Salah. That'd be my opinion.
He's, as you say, he obviously is a lot younger than both of those, and he's a different type of player.
Yeah, he might come on. I mean, Salah was at Chelsea and he didn't do anything there. Mourinho got rid of him. So you don't know. I think he's got a lot of ability, Rashford. I do. What's his best position? I don't know. But I think he definitely has a lot of ability, and he's only a young fella. I think he's getting better. But I expected him to have improved more than he has done since he's come into the team.
What about Greenwood then? I know, again, even younger at only 18. Could he play in that more central role? So if Martial is potentially the one who might move out, could you actually see Greenwood playing that central role?
Well, I think where he's playing at the moment, now I don't know, we haven't seen enough of Greenwood, but I think where Greenwood is playing at the moment could well be his best position. And I think this kid is the real McCoy, and he's coming in from the right wing on his left foot, as we've seen. But in the match against one of the teams there a couple of weeks ago, he took it on his right foot and swapped it into the back of the net. So, like I think the position he's playing in the moment, whether he'd be better up front or not, I don't know. But I think he'd be the real McCoy in the position that he's playing, Nathan. I think this kid is one of the best I've seen ever at his age.
Right. What is it that he has that at his age, that still a teenager, marks him out, that actually can go on and kick on from here over the coming years? What's the skill set he has?
Well, he's good on both feet. He's quick. He can obviously dribble. But if you're both-footed like he is, it's impossible for defenders because you put him on his bad foot. That's what you're supposed to do. But if you don't have a bad foot, for defenders' point, where do I put him? He's obviously left-footed, so they pushed him to his right foot. But you saw in the match at Old Trafford there a couple of weeks, they put him on his right foot and he whipped it into the corner on the far side. That's what I'd be so keen on him and say he's one of the best I've seen. I haven't seen many players who can come from both feet in the way that he does, and he's quick. I think he's prepared to work hard as well. So he's got all the qualities now. If he looks after himself, obviously, to be one of the best, in my opinion, Nathan.
So, by the sounds of it, would you be happier for him to stay out of a more central role than Rashford? Do you feel he can contribute a little bit deeper or out wide in comparison to what Rashford does on the other side?
I don't know. That's what he's doing at the moment is not down the centre of the pitch, and he's doing exceptionally well, really, really well. I'd have to see him, or anybody would have to see him playing up front to see if he would be any better, Nathan. But if he continues to improve in the position that he's in, I think he'd be great anyway.
Yeah.
Now, whether he'd be better up front remains to be seen. We don't know. I don't know.
We need to take a very quick break. John, stay with us.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. As potent as Rashford and Fernandes. Post-lockdown. Gamble responsibly. CWE.net.
Tech Talk with Jess Kelly.
On the latest Tech Talk, Luco Fuelon has the beginner's guide to buying a drone. Waterford IT tells us about Ireland's first esports scholarship. And we'll learn about Generative Pre-trained Transformer 3, the artificial intelligence you really should know about.
Tech Talk with Jess Kelly.
Listen and subscribe to the podcast now, or tune in Saturday evening at 5.
On News Talk.
What is your bliss? To reconnect with amazing scenery and the great outdoors? Or to remain indoors with delicious food and great conversation? To reconnect with family and friends? At FBD Hotels and Resorts, we know nothing is more important than to reconnect with your bliss. Nothing feels better or more valuable. FBD Hotels and Resorts. Reconnect.
Air Business works closely with small business owners to understand their needs. So we know reliable service, great value and cutting-edge technology are vital to success. So for a limited time only, we're giving a free Samsung Galaxy S10 on the Air Business Mobile Connect Plus plan with no limits data for just $39.99 a month. For more, chat to our business team in-store or on 1-800-303-625. Air, let's make possible. Terms and conditions apply. Offer applies to Air Broadband customers and businesses with up to 9 employees.
Sounds like there's a breakdown in communication. Next time, come to a Skoda workshop, where our after-sales team speaks fluent Skoda. We understand those mysterious little sounds and can fill you in on all your car's needs. We also offer free 12-month roadside assistance and only use genuine parts. Book your service at skodaservice.ie. Skoda. Simply clever.
Get back into the spirit at Powers Court Distillery, a unique distillery in an extraordinary location. Set on the magnificent grounds of Powers Court Estate in Enniskerry, it's one of Ireland's most memorable and fully immersive distillery experiences, offering fascinating distillery with exclusive food pairing tours and private tastings. There's plenty for all to enjoy. Make a break for it and book your visit today on powerscourtdistillery.com. Please enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. We love the beautiful game more than Olivier Giroud loves the near post. Gamble responsibly. CWE.net.
All right, welcome back. John Giles is still on the line with us. 53106 is the text number here on Off the Ball. Looking at some of the other teams then and what might happen over the next few weeks. Obviously, we have Champions League to come, John, but in terms of the transfer market and where they might improve, Manchester City making an early move today. They have a bid accepted by Bournemouth of just over £40 million for Nathan Ake. Is he the player who can transform them defensively?
I doubt it, Nathan. I like him. I think he's a very, very good player for Bournemouth. But I'm not so sure he's going to be what they need at Manchester City, to be honest. I don't think he has that attitude on the pitch as being a leader like Van Dijk has done and indeed Maguire, and to a lesser extent at Manchester United. I don't see that in him. I think he's good, and he's a very good player for Bournemouth. But it's a difference when you're going to Manchester City, in my opinion, that they need the best. They really do need it. They need a Van Dijk themselves. Not many of them around, I know, in that particular position.
By the sounds of it, they need a leader more than anything. They've got a lot of centre halves there who have various different skill sets and various different weaknesses, but it feels as though none of them are a true leader in the style of Vincent Kompany.
Well, Kompany was exceptionally good, and there's not many of them around. But they don't have a Van Dijk or Maguire in the team. There's no doubt that. They're weak at the back. Like since Kompany's gone, I think they're definitely weak at the back. Now, whether this lad can fill that particular role, I have my doubts. I don't think he has enough. I think he's good, but not good enough for Manchester City and what they need.
Are City a team that lack leadership, or do you look around and see a few players who, with a bit more experience, actually you would expect to step up into that sort of role next year?
Well, I'm always a little bit wary of the leadership situation. Right. The best way to lead on the pitch is to do your job.
Yeah.
You know, but you see, lads, now most of the lads that I know were leaders. Actually, the first thing they have to do is do well themselves. It's okay shouting at somebody and pointing and doing all sorts of different things. That looks good, but it's not what really happens on the pitch. Now, there are lads on the pitch who have a good knowledge of the game and are doing their own, but the main thing you have to do on the pitch is do your own stuff as a leader. That's how you lead best, not telling other people how to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, Nathan? So some lads you could see playing, like David Silva was a quiet lad. I think he looked like a quiet lad. But what a leader he was when he was at his best, making goals, scoring goals. Do you know, that's the leadership you want, really.
So you don't think one of the reasons for City's decline this season was the absence of Vincent Kompany and the leadership he brought?
I don't think it was the lack of leadership that they missed. It was his ability to defend and defend brilliantly.
Right.
That was his leadership. You know, I've seen fellas pointing on the pitch and not doing their own stuff. And people say, "Oh, look, he's pointing there, he's pointing there, he's a leader," but he's not doing his own stuff. The Kompany, the main thing that Kompany did was he was absolutely world-class defender. That was his leadership. I don't know what he was saying on the pitch. I needed to say anything. When you're doing what he's doing, you don't have to say anything. Because the players just follow. If he's doing it, then that's a biggie. That's the main thing.
It looks as though there's going to be a bit of a premium on centre halves this year because Manchester City need somebody. Chelsea certainly need one centre half and may well go in for Nathan Ake as well. Potentially Manchester United. The other area that a lot of clubs may well look for reinforcement is in goal. Both Manchester United and Chelsea. A lot of speculation around both David De Gea and Kepa. In terms of the value you would put on having a quality goalkeeper, is it almost impossible for Solskjaer and Lampard to progress next season if they have a goalkeeper that they don't fully trust, a goalkeeper that produces the sort of performances that De Gea and Kepa have this season?
Well, I think if you look at the history of the game, Nathan, I can't remember any team winning the Premiership or the Champions League with a weak goalkeeper. I mean, what's made the difference really to Liverpool particularly is getting Alisson in relation to what they had before.
Yeah.
You know, they just had bad goalkeepers who were losing goals. And Man City weren't great either till they got Ederson. I think Ederson is absolutely brilliant. You know, like De Gea was the best in the world up to the last probably 18 months or so. But you can't win. Like I know from private experience myself. I played at Leeds United for years, and we had the late Gary Sprague, who started off as a very, very good goalkeeper as a young fella, and for some reason I think he lost his nerve and started to make mistakes. And I think Don realised, or certainly admitted afterwards, he made a mistake keeping him in that long. It's very, very difficult to win things if a goalkeeper's not really doing his stuff. I mean, if you take the goalkeeper's really doing the job, Nathan, and he earns you 10 points a season, for example. You know, say he earns you 10 points a season, right? That's great. That's what good goalkeepers do. A bad goalkeeper will lose you 10 points a season. That's a 20-point swing.
Yeah.
That's how important it is. You can't. I mean, we experienced with Gary. I mean, Gary was okay. He lost his nerve, and God, he lost. He definitely cost us trophies.
And by lost his nerve, so you're talking about within matches. But did you notice a change in his personality?
Not particularly. But we certainly noticed it on the pitch. You can't do it. You know, like we played in the cup in I think it was 1970 against Chelsea, and it was on the bad pitch, and we went one in front. We were killing them, and just before half time, the left winger got on the ball, and I was quite near him actually. I hit it from about 30 yards, and when you see somebody doing that 35 yards, you think that's great.
Yeah,
you know, that's great. And it went in, and Gary going across the goal, not particularly fast. He was going for it. He was going to dive for it. Decided he wasn't going to dive for it. Going to stop it with his foot. And in between all that, it went under his body. So you go in at half-time knowing you should be way ahead here. You know, you can't give goals away in big matches. And finished up 1-1. And when you were in that position, when you know you've got to hide, and you're still in the game. You know, and well, it was, probably not. We went to extra time, and we drew to, but they beat us in the replay.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. And also, he cost us some points in the league matches as well. Now, I don't want to be having a go when the poor man is gone, but it's just a fact.
Would you be? And look, it is a very isolated role on the pitch. But would you have found that you were more unforgiving towards goalkeepers than other players on the pitch? Well,
like I was a midfield player, so if I make a mistake, it sometimes cost a goal. But when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's a goal. You know. If you look at goalkeepers, we've seen enough of it. We've seen De Gea, who was the best goalkeeper in the world, I think, a couple of years ago, and it just costs goals. Like a midfield player can give the ball away, centre forward can give the ball away. It sometimes leads to a goal, but most times it doesn't. But goalkeepers can't afford to make mistakes. They will now and again. But if you look at the great goalkeepers, you know, they make very, very few. Their concentration is there. Their nerves, they keep their nerve. I think goalkeepers can lose their nerves. I think De Gea might have lost his nerve a couple of years ago when he was playing in the World Cup. We don't know. But what we do know is they're letting goals in that they shouldn't be letting in.
Did Gary Sprake know that ye had lost faith in him after the cup final in 70?
As players, we were okay because Dom was the manager and we had a good set of lads in the pitch. We never got, apart from Big Jack, would go mad.
Right.
Sprake. But the rest of us wouldn't, you know, because that wasn't our job to do that. Like if the manager's not saying anything or he's not leaving, then eventually he surprisingly left him out. We played in the semi-final of the Cup in 72 against Birmingham, who were a second division team, and he dropped them that day, put David Harvey in, and Gary never got in again.
Yeah.
Never got in again. David Harvey was a solid goalkeeper. He wasn't spectacular, but he wasn't making mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's a different. I mean, the great goalkeepers save you these points. Nathan, over a season, as I said, they could save you 10 points, and that's obviously huge. But if somebody's losing you 10 points, you can't. Well, I think I haven't seen a goalkeeper yet, a bad goalkeeper win the Champions League or the Premiership, for example.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. You may have competent goalkeepers, you know, but they're not making mistakes, Nathan, like that. You can't afford to do it.
We had a mail in during the week from Tony Freck, wondering, John, when you're going to do your best West Brom all-time 11.
Yeah,
I think that'll be for the fourth lockdown potentially by the time we get to the West Brom 11. But he was asking, John, for your recollections of Vic Buckingham, the former manager of West Brom, Ajax, and Barcelona. Sounded like quite a character.
I didn't know him very well.
Right.
I think he was manager of the team when they won the cup. I think it was in 1954. Nathan, we were a great team. Ronnie Allen, Ray Barlow, Reg Ryan, who was an Irish lad, played in. They were one of my favourite teams when I was a kid, and I wasn't seeing much football, Nathan. You know, we didn't see much of them at that time. But they were a team that they played brilliant football. Ronnie Allen was a terrific player. Ray Barlow, terrific player, really, really top class. They won, as I said, they won the cup at the time when it was never easy to win the cup. At the time when it was really, really important in 1954. So I was always a fan of West Brom from those particular days, and I was very lucky that when I did go to West Brom, I met those lads. You know, I met them, which is I always found that meeting my heroes was great.
Right.
And I met Ronnie Allen, I met Ray Barlow, lovely man, very, very. And Reg Ryan, Paddy Ryan, used to call him. He was an Irish international. He was scouting for the club when I went there.
Okay.
So it was one of the most enjoyable things I had in football. Was actually meeting players that I would have idolised, like most kids did.
Yeah.
But West Brom are a famous club. It was really, you know, one of the founder members in the football league, and a great, real solid local crowd. You know, West Bromwich people don't regard themselves as Brummies.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that last week. They're more
the West
Country.
They're very proud of their black country roots, you know.
Yeah.
But a great club over the years, and I'm delighted to see them promoted along with, obviously with Leeds. But West Brom, I really, really enjoyed the people there and playing for West Brom and meeting some of my heroes.
Well, yeah, it's great that you retained that joy of your heroes as well, considering by the time you went to West Brom that you still had that and it was still such a privilege to meet them. He had quite a career, didn't he, Vic Buckingham? We're pretty much out of time, but West Brom, Ajax, Sheffield Wednesday, back to Ajax, Fulham, Barcelona, Sevilla, Olympiacos.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's either a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I think there were a few bad things in there as well.
Sorry?
I think there were a few bad things in there as well, maybe along the way that we don't quite have time to get into now.
Well, you know, the success, like Ferguson was at Manchester United for 25 years, and it's usually on a good sign when somebody's moving around that much. It means they've been kicked out of one or two places. But he was a character. He was, he was a character. And I said I didn't know him at all, but he had his own way of doing things. That's for sure.
All right, John, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, Nathan.
John Giles there. If you missed any of John Giles' all-time 11s that we have already done, you can get that on the OTB Sports app on the podcast network right now.
It's not about you, it's about everyone else. Wear a mask. From News Talk.
Make big savings on your top-up shop at Dunnes Stores.